Good afternoon. Welcome to Think About It Using Common Sense. Um, I heard on the news over 14 people in Philadelphia lost their lives um, by guns. And we're just getting over this mass murder of children in Texas and the massacre of 10 people in Brooklyn, New York. And we all know something has to be done. We keep talking. Every time something like this happens, people get up, take to the street, they start marching, protest. But the answer to this problem is the people that we have put in charge, politicians. And we have got to start using some common sense and start thinking about this thing. You know, the people that's pro guns at any and all costs refuse to have uh, uh, background checks, refuse to put a limit on the age of a person or should I say, and the type of weapons that are purchased. It's the politicians. And not only the politicians, let's take it a step further using common sense. It's the people. Because these politicians that's voting for this and that continue to be in office, not only on gun control, but on all these other outlandish things that's happening in this country and to our government with insurrections and talk racism and talking down on our democracy and refuse to believe the legitimacy of our elections. These are the people. These are the American people. Millions upon millions of American people. Because these are the people that these politicians and they support them, meaning they support them. So whatever these politicians do, they do it knowing that their constituents are supporting them. If they didn't, they would not be in office and they would not be doing what they are doing. So you and this world, especially America, is being torn apart. It's being torn apart, and it's being torn apart between by what's considered to be right, what's considered to be wrong, and the outcome isn't in our hands. The outcome, excuse me, the the outcome is what's being manifested in our daily lives. Now, let's use some common sense. I think of these mass killings, especially in the neighborhoods, the difference is uh, in if in Memorial Day weekend, they said it had 14 killings in Philadelphia. This is crime that people or are just committing against themselves. And this has to be uh, analyzed. Who are committing these crimes? What is what's the motivation behind these crimes? Is these crimes being committed because of lack of uh, education, lack of unemployment, lack of drugs, lack of not having family involvement, or just out and out have been deprived of uh, the everyday means of, of survival as at the point of have we been really exposed to the other side of life that keeps other people, that keep people from committing these same crimes that we're doing, so to speak. Uh, just like what I'm saying, there's a reason why we're living that people, uh, let me see, best way I can say, there's a reason why, say 75% of the people that is incarcerated are people of color. There's a reason for that. Uh, and I can keep going back. I said it last time when I had a um, podcast. I keep talking about going back to in slavery, and I keep talking about how uh, people of color have been deprived through the years, taken advantage of over the years. And people say, "Well, oh, well, look, you can do this. You can pull yourself up. You can work. You can do this, and you can get ahead. You don't have to do that." I agree totally. I agree. But people of color, and I'm not making excuses. Excuse me. People of color have had and and do have to this moment a harder chance at survival or attaining an education or job, just surviving in a neighborhood or having the same advantages as white people, as other people. It doesn't happen, and it doesn't happen is because we have been uh, we have been conditioned. If you haven't been taught, how else do you know how to do something? If you haven't been taught, you don't know how to do it. You don't get the same. People say, "Oh no, you don't. You don't get the same You don't get the same opportunities, and you haven't gotten the same opportunities as white people, Caucasian race. You haven't. It's just not true. And if you believe that, you're being misdirected. You're out of touch with reality. I was watching this professor, and she was white, and she had an audience of maybe 300 people or more. And she asked them a question. She said there was all the audience was 99% white. And she asked them, she said, how many people are in the audience would want to be black or of color? And not one, not one raised their hand. And the woman who was giving the lecture, she said that just shows right there that every one of y'all know what people of color go through in this country. And you do. And you know the perks that people have in this country. You remember not too long ago that this lady that was in the park of New York, and she had this confrontation with this black man, and she called the police up. She told him, made up a story and said the black man was attacking her or something. And right away, cops was right out that she made this up because she knew if she said that, the police would come right away to her aid. And they did. But it was videoed. The man videoed the conversation. That's what uh, made the news. So it's a reason for this. And all these professors with all these degrees, and no one can come up with a solution. You know the solution. This is the results of what was not and have been being done to people of color. And I grant you, people of color can do more. You should learn. You learn and you should do more to help your people, to see to it your people are educated, to rise them out of poverty, to create schools and corporations, investment corporations that can prepare them for now and for the future. Don't do that. We don't do it. We're so brainwashed, we're so out of touch with reality that we're so busy wanting to be accepted when in reality you will never be accepted unless you make yourself. See? That's why other races of people are so far ahead of African Americans because they see the problem, but they don't go around wanting to be accepted. They start their own business and corporations within this country that works along with the American economy and earn respect. But we all have to realize, or we don't have to, but we should. Let's say we should realize that we're all on this earth together. And this is the problem. People thinking they're better, you better, I'm better. No, you're not. You think you are, and you're entitled to think however you want to think. But it's just wrong, and we can see that by what's being made manifest through the actions of what we are doing, not only here in America, but around the world. People are starving around the world. People do not even have food to eat. People don't have clean water to drink. They're dying of starvation. Humans around the world are dying of starvation, being taken advantage of by those who refuse to see to it that people are educated properly because out of fear that if people are educated, then that might cut into their profits. Because at the end of the day, that's all it's about. It's about profits, selfishness, greed, and the whole world is being destroyed. This this climate control, uh, the planet is being destroyed out of greed, selfishness. You don't care. These big corporations, big companies, they don't care about. The only thing they care about is the profit, regardless if the world is or the environment is being destroyed or polluted. Hey, as long as it's not polluting where we have to exist, where we live, it's okay. That's the mentality and that's the attitude of people. And that's why we see a broken humanity, a broken world, broken planet, a dying planet, dying human race. It's common sense. We can sit back and not want to call it like it is, but this is the way it is. This is the way it is. The planet is dying and the human race is dying. Look at all these diseases that's happening. Look at all the illnesses that's happening. You got cities within cities of nothing but medical centers and hospitals. Every time you turn the news on, there's a new virus out. It's because the human immune system, excuse me, the human immune system is being destroyed. It's failing us because everything that's out here that's attacking the body, the immune system begins to fail, then these viruses thing can come in and attack the body. Okay, so now we can build a serum. We can come up with a serum that can put some antibodies in the body that can control that. But then you're fighting that, then something else comes along. You know, and when the virus get used to that serum, something else can come along. Something else can come along. We have got to start doing what is necessary to get things under control. And for everybody, it's time to stop living in fear. Because what it is, we're really living in fear based on what we have done and what we have not done. You know, the preachers, religious leaders, they have let people down. They have let the people down. The role models, the things that I hear what these religious leaders are doing, have been doing, terrible. Multi-millionaires, I guess billionaires. But what my thing too is, now I know there's that power, that feeling of power. A while, everything gets old. Everything gets old as you yourself gets old. So you can only spend so much. You can only do so much. But why is it that you have to let the whole world, or 50% or 60% of the world, starve or live beyond below, way below poverty, when it's in your power to change things? It just doesn't make sense. And I wish someone would explain it to me. How is it? How is it that 2, 3% of the people own 90% of all the wealth in the world? And so you own everything anyway. This is my thing. You own everything anyway. So what is it, or why is it that you feel that you just have to have people starving when it's all yours anyway? Instead of fixing it, you seem to find a way to capitalize on it. But you just rerouting your wealth at the end of the day. It's all yours. It's all yours. All the whole economy, this economy is yours. Common sense now. The economy, everything in it is yours. So the people that this business works, they buy their stuff from you. If you own a business, you buy your stuff from the company of the rich. You employ people. You employ the people that you employ. They go out, they buy stuff from businesses. The businesses get their stuff from the rich. So all the money goes right back. So it's not even hurting you. You know, and the Federal Reserve Bank controls the interest rates. And the Federal Reserve Bank is not even a government. It's not a government bank. It's a privately owned bank. Private means that there are people that own the Federal Reserve Bank just like there's someone that owns a pizza shop. A group of people have a corporation that owns a certain pizza and distributes shops all over the country. Same thing with the Fed. It's privately owned. They got banks all over the country. They control it. They control everything. Whoever controls the money controls the economy. But apparently, for some reason, they don't want this world, don't want America, don't want this country cleaned up. And for whatever reason, for whatever reason, they're trying to start taking us back to the Civil War. For whatever reason, they're trying to start a civil war in this country. And it's not between the blacks and the whites or blacks and people of color. It's between the haves and the have-nots. That's who it's between. Because the way things are, the shelves in the stores could be empty because farmers have not been able to produce and manufacture, and farmers produce goods and other companies manufacture goods due to a lack of a lack of things. You see, when you have famines and droughts, that affects everything. We have a fresh water shortage that's not even talked about. It should be blasted on the front page of every paper. They don't talk about it. This one lady, she was making fun of the fact that California is starting trying to build a purification system that can uh, purify water that you use for your shower and your toilets, and purify it so people can drink it, save lives. And the woman was making a joke out of it instead of saying how dire of a need for drinking water that we don't have, and will have a major shortage in the future, that this is what we have uh, uh, to do in order to have drinking water. This is serious, but yet, due to lack of common sense, the woman was making a joke out of it. But I guarantee you this: if there wasn't no water and only water was available to save her life or lives or other people's lives, I guarantee you they'd drink that water and be glad to get it. So people, we're being misdirected from the really important things in life. And these young kids, these young kids, and they are kids, that's taking these guns, these highly sophisticated automatic weapons, being able to purchase them, to be able to purchase them, and thousands of rounds of ammunition, and just go out and kill people. If they say these kids are mentally ill, that's all of the more reason that there should be a background check. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to say that you need to be a certain age to purchase a certain type of weapon. It doesn't take a rocket scientist for that. It just takes somebody that's understanding the value of life and the importance that these weapons uh, uh, need to be put uh, and some kind of restriction has to be put on them. It's just common sense. It's not a thing that you got more weapons out here now for every person in this country in America could have a weapon and have some left over. And I still, with all this killing, every day, every day, and mass murders, and killings, and domestic, however, wars, I have never have had or heard anyone say, take away anyone's guns. All they said is, get them under control. That's all. That's all. And for politicians to come out and say what they're saying about not even paying attention, they act like they're not even concerned about restrictions on these guns. And people are bearing the blunt of their reckless decisions. You see. And yet they would only say that because they know that people that they're catering to are people that want them to do what they're doing. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. It's common sense. It all boils down to the American people, what the American people want. And then if they say the majority, now this is another thing that's kind of boggles my mind a little bit. They say the majority of the people, 80% of the American people, they want background checks. They want the fact that uh, children should have to be a certain age to buy weapons, and that certain weapons shouldn't even be sold to children under a certain age, if sold at all. 80% of the American people. Now, if 80% of the American people are for that, then that shouldn't even be no problem. That shouldn't even be up for discussion. That should be done deal. I would think, use some common sense. I would think so. So apparently, you know, when it really comes down to it, American people don't even count. We think we have some power, but in instances like this, if we had power, then we would not. We would be having this discussion right now. Excuse me. We would not be having this discussion, and it's just time for us to start. Uh, I don't even know if we have time for not giving up. You got to vote them in and out. You got to make up your mind what it is that you want to do. These people have been in office for so long with their ideas and misdirecting people. We don't even we don't even get their respect anymore. They walk around, these politicians, and I'm not sitting up here talking against politicians doing their job, but I'm speaking on politicians that we vote into office. They take an oath, so they must believe in God, principles of God, because they took an oath and they put their hands on the Bible to uphold the Constitution of the United States and and look out for the American people and their decisions that they make would be determined by what's best for the American people. Now, if I'm missing something, they are not doing that. If you're on a job and you get hired on this job to do a certain job and you don't do it. What happens to you? You get fired. That's what happens. But not here. You can't even they ask them a question, they turn their back, don't even answer. Don't even answer you. Can't even get to them. These are people, these are our representatives. They supposed to represent us. And you know, and when you think about it for real, they have never really represented people of color. Never. People say, "Oh no, 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 no," but think about it now. Just think about. I'm not making this stuff up. I'm not sitting up here hating anybody. I'm not. I'm just using some common sense. You know? And if you do some background check, all this stuff, all these old uh, Republicans, I guess Democrats too, they all own their fathers, forefathers, somebody in their family that got their money off the backs of slaves. So you pass this mentality, this attitude, pass it on down the line. So these people 75, 80 years old in Congress, the Senate. So you know how that when it came to black people, you know how they was thinking. They have not changed. No. The Civil War was fought. The Civil War was fought because the people in the northern part of this country was most of them was anti-slavery. And those southern states did not want to abolish slavery. That's why the Civil War was fought. So in a modern day time, you know, we should, as a people, as a nation, should be more together. We should have learned something. But just like the people of color was deprived from uh, education, just like the slave owners, their children was instilled with the fact that uh, people of color were less than human. So where do you see people of color getting a fair deal out of this? Even though you said, "Well, oh, I wasn't here during that time. I'm only a certain age. I'm 15. I'm 20. I'm 18." Absolutely, but some of that you still reaping the benefits of slavery. That's right. So I wish we would uh, just kind of, just need to really start working on this, man, and just stop talking so much. Stop talking, and really start doing something. Uh, you look in the neighborhoods. I look in the black neighborhoods, and they're being pushed out. And why they're being pushed out? Because they don't have the money. They haven't been taught how to invest. Family structure's been broken up. You got people now that's realizing that uh, their neighborhoods where they're living now is in some of the best parts of the cities, close to public transportation, and you know, it's you have also you have space. You're not all cramped together. The houses are large, has a lot of character. Other people come in and swooping these houses up for little of nothing. Then you come in, you reassess the neighborhood, and you raise the taxes on seniors on fixed incomes, but they don't have make that much money anyway because they haven't made it. They was deprived of a proper education, so the little social security and the little checks they get is just barely enough for them to eat. So you come in and reassess the neighborhoods, you know what I mean, and put signs all up over the neighborhoods and stuff. And the next thing you know, boom, you out of your house up for sheriff's sale. Now you have nowhere to go. And there you see other people that came in and developed your neighborhood. And your price, property value done went up, and you're not even allowed back in your neighborhood. And you're supposed to sit around and smile and be happy. Big news. This is the norm. How things are and have been done to people of color, used and abused. And then we have some people of color that come to slip through the cracks. And, they're intelligent. Their family and their parents, they realize the importance of education and being involved and teaching their children how to do things. You know, but when they get that knowledge, they do it. Oh, they get their money. They make their money. They gone. See you. Bye. And forget where they came from. That's not how it's done. You know, people. You have to survive as a people. And how many of us have really put together a fund for people over in Africa? I don't know if you do. I don't hear about it. Sometimes the people I've tried to get involved in, like some people of color investment corporations, and start an investment. I contribute money to it, and they sit on the money and do nothing. Nothing. It has to change, and it has to change now because it's only so many slices to a pie. And the 1-2% have most of the pie anyway. Actually, have it all, but at least they can allow you to get in and get some of it, some of the leftovers. But it's not too many leftovers. And then what they're doing now is they're taking what I'm seeing. They're putting people. You have to do something with these people. People that can't survive or doesn't have sufficient income to live a decent, even a partial decent life, and still strung out on drugs and stuff like that. They put them in a certain part of the city. Or at least they said, well, okay, we got them up here. We can keep an eye on them because people, millions and millions of dollars are not being invested in these neighborhoods for people to continue to come in and disrupt and bring the property down, killings and drugs, all kinds of stuff. It's not going to happen. It's going to be cleaned up. And you're going to have somewhere to live. And it's not difficult. It's not difficult. It really isn't. It's not difficult to work together blacks, whites, Asians, everybody. It's not difficult for everybody to work together. Put a pot, just get a pot. Say we're going to have a investment corporation built for the people. Everybody has one share only. That's it. You put that money in, whether it's 500, 1,000, but now this money doesn't even have to go in all at one time. Say if you're on the low income and you don't make that kind of money, if you put $100 in a month, okay, so 5 months you got your 500. Boom, that's it. You got your share of this thing. And this is something you can have in the community that people you can have some kind of competition for the rich people. That these rich people keep them from just buying up everything because you have to live here. So why not do something that can sustain you? And at the end of the day, even if you do something like that, all the money is still going back to the 1-2%. But only thing you're doing, you're easing this stress level. You're easing this burden of living now. That's all you're doing, and you're doing it by working together. And we need to stop killing each other. We need to clean the streets up, clean our neighborhood up. We need to walk down the street and just be saying to yourself, hey, I love you. When somebody walk down the street, good morning, how are you, with a smile that they can feel that inner love that you have for them. That you walk down the street and you don't even see a piece of paper on the ground. We have to do this. We have to do it. It's not going to get done unless we do it. And when it comes to business, stop ripping people off. These business owners take advantage of people like crazy because you don't know. You don't have to go in business to make $1 million profit a year. Oh, I made $1 million profit this year. I made 50 million. I'm going to make $1 billion. Come on, man. That's profit. That means if you overcharging, if you make that kind of money, regardless of what business it is, if you make that kind of money, have it ever occurred to you that you are taking advantage of people? And that's a fact. Just because someone don't know and you can charge them, you take a bottle of water. You understand? A bottle of water where you can buy a case of water wholesale. 24 bottles, 24 bottles in a case now. You can buy it wholesale, $3. You understand? $4. Let's say you buy. Let's just say you buy a case of water. Okay, 24 bottles in a case. Okay, and let's say you pay $6. Say you pay $6, which is, I doubt it, wholesale price for a case of water. So if you sell each bottle for $1, okay, that's $18 that you are bringing back off of that case of water. Okay, and then let's just say the expenses. Let's just say your profit. Let's just say your profit might, I mean, your expenses might be another $6. So that means off that case of well, you pay $6 for it. You pay six. Your expenses is six. So you make $12 profit off that case of water for a dollar. That's selling for a dollar. Some of these stores sell that same bottle of water, $1.89, $2.29 for that same 16-ounce bottle of water. And then what's really disturbing to me is you'll find people on the street selling water on the street. They don't have the overhead that the stores have. They don't have the electric. They don't have the rent. You understand? They charging $2 for this water. They charging $2. They charge a dollar for the water. And they don't have no overhead. So they making 18. Or maybe they pay somebody, but still, come on. People are getting robbed. I just use water for an example, but that same principle applies to practically everything that you buy. Now I agree sometimes when things go up, when say we have a famine or a drought or something, and you can't get, tomatoes or your vegetables and stuff like that. So cost more, cost more to for the farmers. So some things you have to increase the price. But if you're going to increase the price based on the quality of the fruit. Don't sell me fruit you're gonna throw away anyway for top dollar that you can't even sell. I've actually bought fruit from the supermarket, and before I even get the stuff home good or the next day, I gotta throw it out because it's rotten. Come on now. But that's not in all supermarkets. Depends on the neighborhood. So it's up to these business owners. It's up to these business owners to give people a fair shake. And I agree. That's why you have difference. Like you have some high quality, high quality first class establishments. Well, you know what? For people got money. That's where you go. You pay for it. They don't even care. They got so much money. They don't care. But I'm talking about on the lower levels, and people don't have any money, and you're taking advantage of them. You're selling people real estate 4 months, 4 months, 4 months in advance. Then you're charging $1,000 a month for a property that's not even worth $300 a month. You're taking advantage of them because you know they don't have credit, nobody else is going to rent to them. So guess what? They got to figure out how to get the money. Then you're going to overcharge them. Then when they come up late and can't afford to pay, then you're going to say, "Oh, wow, I'm renting you an apartment and you don't pay your rent." Well, charge them a decent price where they can pay. There won't be no problem. See, we create these problems, misdirection, act like they don't even exist. I'm not saying to give people anything, but you have to teach them. They don't know. They don't have advantage like other people have advantages. Always have had. So it's just that we got to stop just too quick. Stop being so quick to criticize pass judgment on people for the situation that they're in and place the blame where the blame belongs. That's all I'm saying. All these killings and all these guns and stuff, with lack of restriction, lack of background check. No reason for that. Don't come here and tell me somebody, oh, these kids are mentally disturbed, but yet this mentally disturbed kid can go in and buy an AK-47 or whatever these guns are that shoot through steel and cinder blocks and all that. And 18 years old, buy all these magazines and have 1,000 rounds of ammo and no warning sign goes up. No, don't tell me you see somebody sitting around and if you see somebody in a bar just drinking and drinking and drinking and they get ready to walk out and get into a car, bartender stops them. They say, yo, you can't drive. They do that. The guns are, and I'm not anti-gun. I'm not anti-gun. I have a couple myself. I'm not anti-gun. When they shoot, and the people that have them should be responsible. They should lock these guns up where kids can't get them. If you're an adult and your child gets a gun and does some damage with it, then you're responsible. Because if you'd have had it locked up, it would never have happened. But you just can't glorify. You can't have people, our leaders glorifying and not standing up to truth and what's right and what's wrong. You can't. We put you in office, but then again, it goes back, like I said prior, that the people that continue to elect these politicians in office, they must go along with whatever it is they're doing because they keep electing them into office year in and year out. you know, and 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 people of color, you can't keep looking for fair deals. We have to go. We vote. Well, we can't be looking for fair deals from people that has a history of not liking people of color. So, we have to change, but we have to change under love. And people have these religious leaders have got to stop using religion. The purpose, of religion. I mean, it's a spiritual belief that help uplift you physically and spiritually, but and that's a good thing. But the church itself was a nucleus in the community to help people, was a base to help people, to help the people, to help the community to grow. Not just everything is just put into the church and nothing coming out. I'm not saying this is how all churches are, but majority of them are. A lot of them are. But that's how, I mean, how people believe and what they want to do. That's their business. It's their business. So, but we have kids, grown up, being killed, all these robberies and burglaries, all this stuff going on in the world today. That's not speaking of. I don't see that. I don't see God condoning that. Or any religion that uh, I have looked into. I don't see God condoning that. I don't see him praising that. So something's wrong. And it seems like the world is becoming more and more distant from God as a people, from what I'm seeing. Even even the Supreme Court, highest court in the land. I heard just today they talk about having an investigation to see who leaked the information concerning the Roe versus Wade uh, decision. So I mean, so you're talking about a Supreme Court, truth should be at the forefront. So that shouldn't even be an investigation. If somebody said, "Well, how did it leak?" Oh, I did it. That's how that's to me. That's what they should say. If you know, otherwise, if you got to go through that and get an investigation for the Supreme Court to get an answer out of, find out who in the Supreme Court did something, that is a huge, huge problem. Tells me right there, the Supreme Court ain't supreme. And this is what we have to start doing. We have to start holding people accountable. And if you say something, then that's it. That's what you do. If you say I'm this, then okay, oh, you can be that. I'm not gonna say you're not that, but I'm gonna watch you and find out about what it is to be what you say you is. What is it gonna take? What is the example of a person being what you say you are? So, and if you fall short, then you're not it. Not a whole bunch of excuses. You either on the line or you off the line. And you can be on the line. Oh, I'm here like it. Oh, yes, you can. Just own up. Did you do this? Yes. Am I trying? You know within yourself when you put your best foot forward on something. You know, you know, you know whether or not you studied for a test at night or not. You know whether you was out drinking. You can go sit in that classroom for that test the next morning and be just as sharp as you want to be, but you know whether or not you was drinking the night before. You know whether you studied for that test the night before. And if you didn't, guess what? It's going to show up when you take that exam. Just that simple. So you sow, so shall you reap. Just that simple, people. Tired of talking. I'm saying again, I hope this be the last time I talk about it. Because people know, you know. That's why a lot of people don't want, from what I'm hearing, history about slavery taught in school. They want the truth. They don't want, it's not that they don't want the history of slavery taught in school. They don't want the truth about the history of slavery taught in school. Okay. All right, so, okay, if it doesn't, if you don't want it taught in school, make the history of slavery available on tape to anyone that wants to listen to it. Now, what's wrong with that? Just make the truth available. You don't have to teach it, and I can agree with that. If you don't want your child to hear that, fine, and I totally agree with you. But make it available for those who do want their children to hear. Make the truth available. The truth has never even been available until here recently. Until here recently. And the truth and the real truth that I'm getting, not only from the real truth that I'm really getting, it's not only from people, because from white people. These professors, they know, they get up and tell it like it is, and people they're understanding. It happened. Okay? It happened. This is the way it was. But you don't go through life hating. This is how it was. Thank God we made it through it. But you don't keep teaching your children about that, or teaching your children how to hate people, to kill people, to shoot people. You don't continue to deprive the people that was enslaved of a proper education, of an equal chance, of an equal chance now at getting something, even though it will never be equal because you're still behind because you've been behind for over 100 years. But at least try, and we're not taught. You have to, and even so, people with money, the people with money, you have to be taught what to do with money. Do you think having money means that you go out and listen? However, people spend their money, it's their business. But I'm speaking on knowledge. You have to know what to do with money. You understand? I don't see not one rich billionaire that they show on television with these diamonds and gold and all this. I don't see it. They might have it. They do. They might have it in a vault somewhere. That real stuff in a vault somewhere. They have it tied up in art. You understand? Manufacturing companies or something like that. They're not wearing it. They don't have no uh, garage full of, you know, automobiles and stuff like that. They have money making something. Money is a tool to use to make money. You understand? You could come in your, you could come in a neighborhood, a ghetto, about 2 or 3 thousand, make 2 or 3 thousand unit apartment complex, beautiful landscape that you own, that you control the rent of, so people won't be getting put out of their houses. Teach them how to have trade schools, teach these people how to work and build these houses. You got these contractors now building these houses so cheaply. I'm telling you, for strong wind come and blow them down and charging a fortune for them. We don't do that. We have people that's billionaires. They're not coming in teaching people how to do nothing. Take people come in and teach and telling people how to to use their money. I think I'm going to try and it may be one of my next moves. Try and start something. I can help people to educate them to start investment corporations and stuff. So if a house become available in your neighborhood, the people can buy it and own it and fix it up and rent it out and have their own Airbnb or whatever they want to do with it. At least you own something. You got to start doing something. We've got to start taking over some businesses and stuff, building businesses in our neighborhood. Because everybody else makes their money off of the black man in the neighborhood. People of color. People of color. Not just black, people of color. That's where they get the money. That's all we do. We spend. You can't have anything spending money all the time. On that note, look, it was a pleasure. I enjoy talking. I get carried away sometime. I get off track. I go from here to there, but just bear with me. Um, Guarantee things gonna get better. I had a topic that I want to um, was going to read about, and it's being misdirected. What is real? Out of the human mind came this physical environment and this physical body equipped with what's necessary to sustain the life inside, along with universal laws governing all. And there are laws that governs everything, everything. And as we can see, man-made laws is not strong enough to really sustain humanity and this planet. God made laws, and we have to live by them and obey them, and that will give us life and more life. On that note, people, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And what am I doing? I think I'm trying to close out, but let's see, let's see. Oh, let's see. Trying to close out. Well, anyway, have a good night.